All right, welcome back. Today we are diving into something huge. A really fundamental shift in what it even means to be skilled now that AI is everywhere. The rules of the game are changing, like right now as we speak. So the big question is, are you ready for it?
So, check this out. This really powerful statement comes from Fei-Fei Li, who's a total pioneer in the AI space. And when someone like her says that it's very difficult to consider an engineer who isn't using AI tools, well, you gotta listen. That's not just, a small tweak to a job description. No way. This is a massive signal that something is fundamentally changing, like the ground shifting right under our feet.
Okay, so when you hear that, the first thought for most of us is probably, all right, I just need to learn how to use the latest AI tool, right? But here's the thing. What the source material we're looking at today argues is it's not that simple. It's not just about technical skill. It goes so much deeper than that. The real signal here, what's really going on, is a complete overhaul of how we even value talent. Seriously. This isn't about just adding another line item to your resume. This is the entire job market changing its mind about what makes someone valuable. We're moving away from valuing what you know and shifting towards valuing what you can create. Okay, so to really understand why this massive shift is happening, we've got to take a step back. We need to look at the world our entire education system was built for. And you'll see pretty quickly why it's so dangerously out of sync with where we are today. And this is really the heart of the problem, right here. Our whole education system, it was built for that world you see on the left, the old world. A world where knowledge was kind of scarce, and if you could memorize and recall the standard answer, you had a huge advantage. But we don't live there anymore. We live in the new world on the right. Knowledge is everywhere. It's abundant. The real advantage now, it comes from being able to actually generate valuable outcomes. So you have this huge gap, right, between this old model of learning and what the real world actually demands from us now. The source we're looking at calls this a structural mismatch. And honestly, this is probably the root cause of so much of the career anxiety that people are feeling today. It's that feeling that our skills are becoming disconnected from what the market truly values and needs. All right, so if just knowing stuff isn't the key anymore, then what is? What is the new competitive edge in this age of AI? The answer, according to our source, is something called generative ability. And listen, this isn't just another buzzword for a simple skill. No, it's a whole capability. It's about being able to look at a messy, complex problem, figure out how to break it down logically, then collaborate with AI to generate real solutions, and, this part is absolutely critical, take full responsibility for the final outcome. So we can actually break this big idea of generative ability down into 4 key parts. Think of it like a 4-step process. First, you've got to be able to define the problem really well. Step 2 is breaking that problem down into a clear, logical structure. Step 3 is where you actually collaborate with AI to generate things. And finally, step 4, you have to apply your human judgment and, again, take responsibility. This right here is the new framework for what high-value talent looks like. And this quote really gets to the heart of it all. AI is not magic, it's an amplifier. Think of it like a megaphone. If you have messy, unstructured thinking, well, AI is just going to amplify that and create more sophisticated-looking chaos. But if you have a clear way of thinking, a solid cognitive structure, then AI becomes this unbelievable force multiplier. It just makes you that much more effective. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually build this generative ability? Like, what do we do tomorrow? Well, the good news is the source gives us a really clear, actionable playbook. And here it is. It's actually pretty straightforward. You want to get better at defining problems? You've got to train yourself to ask better, deeper questions. You want to get good at breaking things down into structures? The best way is through project-based learning, actually doing stuff. For collaborating with AI, you have to start treating it like a real partner, not just a tool to get the answer faster. And to build that crucial value judgment, you have to make a habit of constantly reflecting and reviewing your work. You see, what this all boils down to is a complete mindset shift in how we approach learning. The goal isn't just to be a passive receiver of information anymore, a knowledge transfer system. The new goal is to become an ability generation system, to be someone who is actively, constantly building real capabilities. All right, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture here. What does a truly future-proof skill set actually look like in this new world we're entering?
This chart, I think, illustrates the new value equation perfectly. In the future, your value isn't going to come from the breadth of your knowledge, how many facts you know. That's becoming a commodity because AI knows all the facts. No, your value is going to come from the depth of your capability. What can you actually do? What can you create and accomplish? Now, this next idea might be the single most important point in this whole explainer. The real story of AI isn't about people being replaced, it's about amplification. AI is going to act like a great divider, dramatically widening the gap between people who have a strong, structured way of thinking and those who don't. And that brings us to this really powerful final thought from the source. In this new era, success isn't about getting lucky or just knowing a bunch of stuff. AI amplifies structure, not luck. It's the clarity you bring, the logic you use, your ability to build something. That's what gets magnified.
Which really just leaves us with one final and I think pretty provocative question for you to think about. Knowing all of this, knowing that the very rules of talent are being rewritten right now, the question really isn't if you should change, it's how. So, how are you going to restructure your learning to build these generative abilities that are going to matter so much?